What if I told you that with just a few easy steps, you could make your car battery last a lot longer, up to 3 to 5 years or even more? Now, if you're like me, you've probably experienced the frustration of trying to start your car only to hear that dreaded clicking sound. Your battery is dead. It's always at the worst times too, during rush hour, on a road trip, or on a cold morning when you're in a hurry. Imagine avoiding these annoying jump starts and not worrying about a dead battery every winter. I've got 10 pro tips for you today that will help you do just that. And before we get started, if you're all about saving money, maintaining your car, and learning how to keep your ride running smoothly, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We've got tons of car care hacks coming your way that you won't want to miss. Alright, let's dive right into it and talk about some of the easiest ways to make sure your car battery lasts longer and gives you fewer headaches. Let's kick things off with a super simple, yet often overlooked tip. Turn off everything in your car before you start the engine. Sounds like common sense, right? But many people forget this simple step. When you start your car with things like the radio, air conditioning, lights, and heated seats already turned on, you're asking your battery to do extra work. All these electronics require power, and your battery has to supply it when you turn on the engine. Now, you might be thinking, is it really that big of a deal? Well, over time, yes, it adds up. Every time you turn on your car, having unnecessary accessories running puts strain on the battery, which means it'll wear out faster. So, make it a habit to turn everything off before you start the engine. The battery will thank you, and you'll prolong its life. And here's a bonus. It also means you won't have to worry about running down your battery when you forget to turn off the lights. Tip number 2. Clean your battery terminals. Now, this may sound a little boring, but trust me, it's so important. If you ever pop the hood of your car, take a look at the battery terminals. You might notice white, powdery corrosion building up. That's a sign of acid leakage, and it can have a big impact on your battery's performance. Cleaning your battery terminals is an easy, low-cost way to extend your battery's life. Corrosion forms when acid from the battery leaks out, which can create a poor connection between your battery and the electrical system. If that connection gets weak, your battery won't work as efficiently, and you might find yourself stranded unexpectedly. So, how do you clean the terminals? It's simple. First, disconnect the negative terminal. Always the negative first. Then, use a baking soda and water solution to clean off the corrosion. You can also use a battery terminal cleaner, which is available at most auto parts stores. Once the terminals are clean, reconnect everything, and you're good to go. Tip number 3 is one that's especially important if you live in an area with extreme temperatures. Avoid exposing your car battery to the elements. Whether it's the scorching summer heat or the freezing cold of winter, temperature extremes can do a number on your battery. During the summer, high heat causes the battery's fluid to evaporate, which leads to internal damage. On the other hand, cold weather can make it harder for your battery to supply the necessary charge to start your engine. Cold temperatures cause the chemical reaction in the battery to slow down, which makes it harder to get the car started. So, what can you do to protect your battery from these extremes? If you live in a hot climate, park your car in the shade whenever possible, or even consider investing in a reflective sunshade for your windshield. In the winter, if you can, park your car in a garage to protect it from the cold. If you can't, try to use a battery blanket or an insulating cover to keep it warm. Now, let's talk about tip number 4, which is a common mistake many people make: letting your battery run too low. A lot of people think that once their battery starts to drain, it'll magically recharge when they start the car again. But here's the thing, batteries don't work like that. Letting your battery drain too much means it has to work even harder to get back to a full charge. This constant deep discharge can lead to a decrease in your battery's overall lifespan. Instead of letting your battery run too low, try to start your car at least once a week, even if you don't need to drive it. This will keep the battery in a good state and prevent it from discharging completely. Remember, starting your car every couple of days and letting it run for about 10 to 15 minutes will help keep your battery charged, even if you're not going anywhere. Moving on to tip number 5, minimize the use of power-hungry accessories. Things like your heated seats, high beams, and air conditioning can drain your battery faster than you might realize. Sure, those heated seats feel amazing on a chilly morning, and we all love blasting our favorite tunes, but using these accessories too often when the engine isn't running at full power can quickly sap your battery. So try to use these features sparingly. For example, avoid leaving the air conditioning running when you're sitting in the car with the engine off. The same goes for the radio, phone chargers, or any other electronics you might have plugged into your car. Before we dive deeper into more tips on extending your battery life, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Join the community and stay updated with all the latest tricks, hacks, and tips that will not only help you optimize your battery, but also get the most out of your device. Don't miss out, subscribe now, and keep your tech running longer. Tip number 6 is another one that sounds simple but can make a huge difference. Drive your car regularly. I know that not everyone drives every day, but if you leave your car sitting idle for too long, your battery will lose charge, and eventually, it'll wear out quicker. Even if you don't have somewhere to go, try to take your car out for a short drive at least once a week. This will give the battery enough time to recharge properly. If you only drive short distances, the alternator won't have enough time to fully charge the battery, so aim for at least a 20-minute drive to keep the battery in good condition. Longer drives are especially beneficial if you've been doing a lot of short trips or if your car has been sitting for a while. Your battery will appreciate it, and it'll stay in better shape for longer. Tip number 7, get your battery tested regularly. Just like you take your car in for regular oil changes, you should also have the health of your battery checked periodically. Over time, a battery's performance can weaken, and it's not always obvious until it's too late. This is why it's crucial to have your battery tested periodically to avoid any unexpected breakdowns. It's one of the most affordable and preventative things you can do for your vehicle's longevity. Many auto shops offer free battery testing, and the process typically only takes a few minutes. The test measures key factors such as the battery's voltage, charge level, and overall health. The voltage is a good indicator of how much charge the battery can hold, while the charge level indicates how effectively it is retaining that charge. A quick health check will also give insight into whether the battery is functioning as it should or showing signs of deterioration. Batteries naturally lose their capacity over time, especially in extreme temperatures or with age. If your battery is weak, you may not notice it immediately until it's time to start your car. However, by testing it in advance, you can get a clearer picture of its condition, allowing you to replace it before it completely fails. Having this extra time to plan a replacement can prevent a frustrating and potentially expensive emergency when your car unexpectedly refuses to start. Regular battery tests can also help you spot minor issues that could escalate into larger problems if left unchecked. For instance, if a test shows that the battery is low on charge or the connections are corroded, you can take action right away, potentially saving you from a much larger repair later on. It's recommended that you test your car's battery at least once every 6 months, particularly if it's over 3 years old. Extreme weather conditions, such as heat in summer or cold in winter, can also impact the battery's performance, so it's smart to test it more frequently during these months. In short, having your battery regularly tested ensures you don't get stuck with a dead battery at the worst possible time and that you maintain the optimal performance of your vehicle. It's a quick, easy, and free step toward avoiding unnecessary headaches and keeping your car running smoothly. Tip number 8. Replace your battery before it fails. Most car batteries are built to last between 3 to 5 years. However, just because a battery can last up to 5 years doesn't mean you should wait that long before replacing it. Waiting until your car battery completely dies can lead to all sorts of problems, especially if it fails at an inconvenient or dangerous moment. Instead, consider replacing it before it gives you any trouble. Car batteries can be unpredictable, and while they might seem fine one day, they can fail unexpectedly the next. If your battery dies while you're on the road, you could be left stranded, causing delays, frustration, or even putting yourself in a potentially risky situation. A dead battery can leave you unable to start your car at all, and depending on where it happens, you might need a tow truck or roadside assistance to get you back on the road. Additionally, car batteries tend to die gradually, often losing charge slowly over time. You might notice symptoms like dimming headlights or sluggish starts, but by then, it could be too late to avoid a breakdown. Replacing your battery proactively helps you avoid these signs and gives you time to plan for a replacement before your battery leaves you in a lurch. Rather than waiting for your battery to fail, it's smart to consider replacing it around the 3-year mark. This is especially true if you've had your battery tested and it shows signs of wear, such as a decrease in voltage or the presence of corrosion on the terminals. Even if your battery seems to still be working, it may not be performing at its best, and it could fail at any time. Replacing your battery early not only prevents the risk of being stranded, but it also helps you keep your car running smoothly. A new battery ensures reliable starts, a well-functioning electrical system, and better performance from your vehicle's other components. Plus, if you replace it before it dies completely, you'll save yourself the stress and hassle of dealing with emergency situations. As a general rule of thumb, it's good to plan on replacing your car's battery every 3 to 5 years. If your battery is nearing that 3-year mark and you've experienced signs of wear, like a slow crank when starting your car or dim lights, don't wait any longer. It's better to swap it out early than risk a sudden breakdown. Keeping a regular schedule of testing and maintenance will help you keep track of your battery's condition and give you the peace of mind that you're not on the verge of being left stranded. Tip number 9. Invest in a high-quality battery. You might be tempted to go for the cheapest option, but this is one area where you definitely don't want to cut corners. Cheaper batteries may save you a few bucks up front, but they often won't last as long or perform as reliably as high-quality ones. When buying a battery, choose one that is suited to your car's make and model. It'll cost a little more, but it will pay off in the long run. Finally, tip number 10. Avoid excessive idling. You might think that leaving your engine running while you wait is no big deal, but it's actually hard on your battery. Idling doesn't let the alternator recharge the battery properly, and the longer you idle, the more strain you put on the battery. If you're sitting in your car waiting, turn off the engine if you're not planning to leave anytime soon. We've covered a lot of ground, but I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below telling us your most recent car battery experience and if you've tried any of these tips. And hey, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more awesome car care tips coming your way.